Okay, it's 7 o'clock. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
Indivisible,
liberty and justice.
liberty and justice for
Please call the roll.
Councilman Kitchen.
Here,
Councilman Morrow.
here.
Councilman Secreto is excused. Councilman Van Cleek.
Here.
Supervisor Quigley.
Here. Thank you very much and welcome to the Town of Ulster Town Board meeting for November 19th, 2020. I hope that everyone out there in the internet world can hear us a lot better. I know that the audio system here in the town hall is producing a much better effect than it has been in the past. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda?
I have none.
I have one matter that came to my attention this afternoon. It is in reference to 21 Stefan Street in the town of Ulster. It is a foreclosure. It's been in foreclosure for 5 years. The house is in disrepair. We will discuss that at the end of new business. Is there anyone here tonight who would like to make comment on issues or items on the agenda? We will be having a public hearing at 7:10 to discuss the Spring Lake Sewer District. This is a performance hearing that is required under our grant. It's an opportunity for the residents of Spring Lake to make comment as to how they feel the town has performed on this project. Gentlemen, in your package are the minutes for the October 1st, 2020 town workshop meeting and the October 15th, 2020 town board meeting. May I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
So moved.
So moved.
I have a first for
Second.
Mr. Morrow and a second for Mr. Kitchen. Any discussion on the minutes?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Announcements and correspondence.
I have one letter for correspondence received Sunday, November 15th via email. It reads, "To whom it may concern. I am writing this letter to the town of Ulster to make you aware of the outstanding job that your sewer department did in the installation of the sewer line on Katrine Lane in Lake Katrine, New York, under the supervision of Vincent Maggiore and his assistants, Josh Brink, Sean Ennis, and Mike DeFiore. They did an outstanding job in representing the town of Ulster in a professional manner. From the start, they were very helpful in all aspects of assisting me in the successful connection to the sewer system. It resulted in a rewarding experience when Mr. Maggiore flipped the switch and we successfully witnessed the flow of blank from my holding tank to the sewer system." What does blank mean? I would also like to thank Bill Williams of the Water Department for making out my water lines, which made the digging a lot easier. In closing, I hope the town of Ulster recognizes how valuable it is to have employees who represent them in such an outstanding professional and personal capacity. Sincerely, Charles J. Lay, 185 Katrine Lane.
Thank you very much. Any additional? Okay. Mr. Van Cleek for the abstract of claims.
Okay, the other day we reviewed the abstract of claims. We have $173,121.63 in prepaid bills. We had $528,650.90 in the abstract bills. We had an escrow of $1,125 and a reserve expense of $698.81 for a total of $703,594.34. Make a motion that be accepted?
May I have a motion to accept the abstract as presented?
So moved.
I'll second the motion on the abstract. Any discussion on the abstract? All those in favor, I ask for a roll call vote.
Roll call, Councilman Kitchen,
Yes.
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Secreto is excused, Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes. I'm going to ask for a roll call vote on every matter because we have people participating via Zoom
Sure.
and it's difficult to hear them.
Okay.
Thank you very much. There are no budget modifications for this month. Under new business, in your package is the town clerk's monthly report for the month of October 2020. Is there anything that you would like to highlight on the town clerk's report for the month of October?
Nothing to highlight for October.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Motion to accept the clerk's report.
I have Mr. Morrow
So
making a
moved.
motion.
Second.
I got Mr. Kitchen making a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Go
Aye.
ahead with the vote.
Councilman Kitchen,
Aye.
roll call. Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. In your package is the supervisor's report for the month of October that was distributed by email the other day. We are coming down to the end of the year. The income and expense statements are becoming more accurate as time goes by. We do have a big month coming up with pension payments and medical insurance payments in December. So I ask for acceptance and publication on the town's website of the supervisor's monthly report for the month of October. May I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
I got Mr.
Second.
Kitchen motioning and Mr. Morrow seconding. Roll call,
Second.
please.
Councilman Kitchen,
Yes.
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. At this point of the year, we are dealing with the tax certiorari actions that have been filed against the town for the adjustment to assessment values primarily on commercial properties. The legal process requires that the town of Ulster retain professional appraisers to give opinions of value to support the arguments in the court. I asked, there's a resolution presented authorizing the supervisor to retain real estate appraisers for the tax certiorari matters. May I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
So moved.
Mr.
Second.
Morrow motions, Mr. Kitchen seconds. Any discussion?
No.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Kitchen,
Here, yes.
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Berardi, Chief Berardi. The next item on the agenda is the range agreement with the Ulster County Sheriff's Office. Is there anything in this agreement that you think the town board should be aware of?
It's a regular agreement that we sign every year for every 2 years with the sheriff's office. Nothing has changed.
And they provide us with their insurance coverage? Okay. May I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the range agreement?
So moved.
Second.
Mr.
Second.
Morrow and Mr. Van Cleek, roll call vote, please.
Roll call, Councilman Kitchen,
Yes.
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. 2020 has been a difficult year for our community. And because of COVID-19, the employees of the town have been unable to take vacation as scheduled. The town has negotiated with the union, Local 17, to allow for a one-time buyout of vacation time that is different than what is stated in the contract. The memorandum of agreement has been circulated to the town board members. I asked for a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the MOA by and between the town of Ulster and the Laborers International Union Local 17 for the vacation buyout.
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion from Mr. Van Cleef.
Second,
Mr. Kitchen seconds.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Kitchen,
yes.
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
and Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. The next item on our agenda is a referral from the Town of Ulster Planning Board from the most recent meeting last week to designate the town board as the seeker lead agency for Albany 7 LLC, project located at 721 and 723 Ulster Avenue, Kingston, section block and lot 48.58-5-37 and 48.58-5-21-210. The applicant wishes to convert the existing building to a laundromat with accessory apartments. May I have a motion accepting the resolution as presented?
So
So
moved.
moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Morrow and a second by Mr. Kitchen. Any discussion?
No.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Kitchen,
Yes.
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. Gentlemen, in your package, at the request of our building inspector, Warren Tutt, is a resolution to establish the position of the Town of Ulster Assistant Building Inspector for the purposes of civil service. Mr. Tutt is carrying solely the outside work of the building department now due to the recent retirement and the COVID-19 issues with our part-time employees. So we need to get this position filled as quickly as possible. So I'll ask for a motion to accept.
I'll
the
make the
resolution.
motion.
Mr. Morrow makes the motion.
I'll second.
Second,
Eric second.
Eric seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, it's imperative that he has the help that he needs out there.
Thank you.
Councilman Kitchen,
yes.
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. And an item that is not on our agenda, it was added at the beginning. The town has received numerous complaints about the single-family house at 21 Stevens Street in the town of Ulster in Hillside Acres. Over the last 2 to 3 years, we have been corresponding with Aqua, the servicer for the mortgage holder, to less than stellar results, I should say. The house is still in disrepair. We have been recently communicated with by neighbors complaining again. I've sent an email to the servicing organization and I have not received a response. Therefore, I ask for a motion by the Town of Ulster Town Board to authorize the town attorney to take any action necessary to compel the cleanup of the property at 21 Stevens Road in the town of Ulster.
I'll make
So
that
moved.
motion.
I got Mr. Kitchen making the motion, Mr. Morrow seconding it. Any discussion?
Okay, sorry. Councilman Kitchen,
Yes.
roll call. Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
and Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. Is Mr. Mark Blauer on the line?
I see him.
You can unmute yourself.
He's muted.
Have to unmute.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Good evening, Mark.
How's the sound in the back, Frank? Mark, you're gonna have to speak up a little.
Can I be heard throughout the room?
Is that better? Okay, before we start the public hearing on the Spring Lake Performance Report, I want to give the floor to Mr. Blauer on several points that he wishes to make about the project.
Thank you, Supervisor. This is the Spring Lake Phase 1 sanitary sewer project. It is a low-pressure system very similar to Katrine Lane, which is underway and very successful. It is project number 1159 PR 517. It is again a small cities grant through the Office of Community Renewal. It is again a $750,000 grant. There is no local share. The phase one area in Spring Lake, the sewer mains are largely completed, the original area. At the request of residents, the town requested permission to expand the service area into part of the area that was originally scheduled for phase two. That is Sacramento Boulevard and Spring Lake Drive. We are proceeding with that work, and that work should be done within 2 weeks. Imagine the end of the first week of December. Residents are able to connect to the system once Vincent completes a sewer main, and then we test it and then make it available to homeowners to connect to, where they can get the pump station that the town provides and then hire their own contractor, their own plumber, for example, to connect to the system, much like Spring Lake. Because the project is winding down very late in 2020, and due to all the difficulties this year with the COVID-19 pandemic, the town today discussed with the state an extension through June 30, 2021, to give homeowners additional time to connect to the system. That would take the pressure off in having to connect by the end of this year. It would improve our ability to get more users into the system. That improves the efficiency of the system. And the best way to describe it is that the state's been very charitable, giving us extra time and being very understanding, considering the winter weather is coming on, that the asphalt plants will be closing very shortly. And because due to the continued problems with the pandemic and possible additional lockdowns, it's going to be very difficult to continue to get the work done, and especially for private contractors to be able to help homeowners in time for the end of the year. So an extension through June 30th will be very helpful. In summary, the project has been very successful. Spring Lake will be afforded sanitary sewer service like we did in Katrine Lane. The purpose of tonight's hearing is to give the public an opportunity to express their views, their suggestions, their comments. And with that preface in mind, I'd like to open up the hearing to public questions and comments.
Before we start with the public portion of the meeting, I'll ask Mr. Majori, as superintendent of the sewer systems in the town of Ulster, is there anything you want to add to what Mr. Blauer said about the project on Spring Lake?
Yeah, is that better?
Yes.
Okay, I would like to first thank my crew, the sewer department crew and the highway department crew. These guys have been out there day in, day out, rain, cold. We've been making good progress. We've completed the phase one sewer main construction today. The highway department plans to blacktop those roads tomorrow. And then we are going to start in on Spring Lake Drive and Sacramento Drive that was in phase two that we're able to include in phase one. The response from the public and from the neighborhood has been very good. Everybody is very happy, and there's a lot of people that are ready to hook up. I dropped off 6 pump stations today, and they're going to start hooking up immediately. Does anybody have any questions or?
We'll get to the public comment section.
Okay.
May I have a motion to open the public hearing for the Spring Lake project?
So moved.
So moved.
Mr. Morrow and Mr. Kitchen, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are on Zoom, if you wish to make a comment, can you text our coordinator here through the messaging app in Zoom, and she will unmute you. For those of you in the audience who have public comments, please come to the podium, state your name, your address, and let us hear it. Mr. Obleski.
Regis Sobacheski, 170 Ledge Road. I'm not here on my own behalf, but on behalf of Laura Hartman from 44 Catskill Avenue. She couldn't be here this evening, and she asked me to read her comments. I am sorry I cannot be here in person to read this statement since I teach class on Thursday evenings. Thank you to Regis, who is reading this on my behalf. Since I began canvassing the Spring Lake area in 2017, I have heard from residents about the need for a public sewer system in the area. Having now lived here since 2019, I have heard about this issue frequently from my neighbors. It has long been a frustration for them. So to say that this project is welcome is an understatement. Everyone that I talked with is grateful that this is happening. So thank you to Supervisor Quigley for securing the funds to make this happen and for the board in supporting the project. My house is connected to the City of Kingston sewer system, so this was not an issue to me or for me, or so I thought. I learned only about 2 weeks ago that my neighbor has had a sewer issue, and our sewer lines run through our backyard and through our neighbors' backyards to connect on Fairview Avenue behind us. Giving this some thought, it occurred to me that I might have an expensive problem one day. Last Tuesday, when they began working on my block, I asked Josh, I'm sorry I do not have his last name, if it were possible to include me in this project. He looked into it, and while I cannot get a pump or the valve my neighbors are getting, I was able to, they were able to install the piping from the main line onto my property. I tell this story to give an example of how the workers have treated the residents here. They have been helpful, polite, and as considerate as possible in giving us access to our homes while they are working. Each night they clean up so that the streets are safe for us to travel on and have clear access to our driveways. Frank Petromal has been here often to check on the work. All in all, we have an exceptional highway and sewer department, and I want to commend them on the great work they are doing for us. In talking to neighbors, there is an issue that has come up for some. They have been told that they have until December 31st to connect to the public system so that their homes, in order to receive a free pump the town is providing. There have been issues with contractors, I've heard this from many people, giving them quotes, let alone committing to do the work in time. And now the weather is becoming an issue. Some people are having difficulties with financing their portion given the pandemic or not enough time to prepare, etc. These are comments that I heard last night. I thought this should be brought to your attention in case there is something that can be done to help those who need it. All in all, however, the citizens of Spring Lake are very happy that having access to public sewer system is finally becoming a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Regis. Are there any other individuals here in the audience tonight that wish to make public comment about the project? Suzanne, I understand you have 2 written comments I'd like to have in the record, please.
Yeah, I have 2 letters received via email from residents in the Spring Lake District. First one received Wednesday, November 18th. It reads, "Hi, Suzanne. My name is Randall Oakey, and I own the house at 9 Gulf Terrace. I will not be able to attend the meeting on Thursday evening regarding Spring Lake Sewer, but wanted to make a comment. Vincent had communicated to me that he's going to speak to Albany on Thursday to discuss an extension of the time frame for the project. As of now, we are being told that the free sewer pumps provided by the grant may not be available if they are not installed by December 31st. This seems to me to present an undue burden on the homeowner, since street digging for this project did not begin until November. We are now rushed to get the individual property excavations complete by the deadline. We may or may not be able to accomplish that based on contractor availability and the onset of cold weather. Several of us are working with the excavation contractor, Joe Joy, to try to make this happen, but there is no guarantee that he can get all of our excavations and installations finished in the required time frame, as there are so many variables. That being said, I'm hoping that Vincent will be successful in getting that extension so that we maybe take advantage of the town-funded sewer pumps, hoping for the best. Thanks, Randall Oakey. Second email received today, November 19th. Dear Mr. Quigley and town board members, I am glad to have the opportunity to address the sewer project. I live at 1 Marilena Avenue on the corner of Gulf Terrace. A street sweeper is passing my house as I write, so I guess the project at the end of Catskill Avenue is finished. I want to express my appreciation for the hard work of the Town Highway and Sewer Department workers. Vincent Majori has been accessible and helpful since we were notified of the project on July 27th. He gave us names of excavation contractors, which many of us contacted and made plans to use when the main lines were completed. We shared information through an email list of 18 neighbors. Many of us were ready to connect before the December 31st deadline. The ability to do that now is dependent on the lateness of the season, the weather, the availability of contractors and electricians, and any hidden problems, rock and water. Our contractor hopes to be able to do the connections by the deadline, but there is no guarantee. Vincent Majori indicated in an email that there may be charge for pumps if not connected by the end of the year. This should not be an additional burden on the residents. I hope there is good news after the meeting with the grant people in Albany today. I will be attending the meeting tonight. Sincerely, Marie Barnes. And she is on our Zoom meeting.
Any other comments from the audience? Are there any comments from those who are attending the meeting on Zoom? Please indicate by unmuting your microphone. Ms. Hummel, have you?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing, Mr. Supervisor.
Oh, I just unmuted.
Okay.
I have Marie Barnes who'd like to make a statement. Go ahead, Marie.
Yes. I was just wondering, do we have the results of the meeting with Albany as far as an extension?
Okay. A couple of comments on the items that have been brought up by the various presenters tonight. We had our meeting with Albany at 2:30 this afternoon. We presented the information that came about from the canvas that has been performed over the last 2 weeks by Mr. Majori. We presented the information to the grant agency in Albany and showed to them that many of the residents were unprepared to take advantage of the system and connect prior to December 31st. Along with several other issues involved in this project, they made the recommendation that the town make a letter application, which will be going in tomorrow under my signature, requesting an extension of the grant deadline from December 31st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. We have been given verbal assurances that our request will be looked upon favorably. With that being said, I can say that by Monday morning, we should know that the time pressure on the installations of the sewer pumps by December 31st has been relaxed and give us sufficient time to complete the project in an orderly fashion. Marie?
Okay, well, that's good news. that will, take away a lot of anxiety in the neighborhood. Now, my question is, and it's probably something that I need to, talk to Vincent. This afternoon, as I was writing my letter, Vincent was delivering the pumps. So right now I have an 8-foot, tank and a pump in my side yard. And Joe Joy is here, but he's still, I may be like the 4th person on his list. And what will happen to that pump if he cannot install it in, a reasonable time frame before the really cold weather?
Mr. Majori will continue to monitor the situation with Mr. Joy. It is our hope that the 6 pumps that have been delivered to date get installed in the next 2 weeks. We'd like to get the system operational just to prove that it works. Not that I have any doubt, because the last one we built worked perfectly, but we'd like to get this underway. So Mr. Majori will be in contact with you if there's any issues.
Okay. All right, just our concern is, with the rock and the water that's in the neighborhood. Hopefully, all will go smoothly. And Mother Nature cooperates also.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
no problem. Is there anybody else on the Zoom call who wish to make a comment? Okay, Mr. Kitchen has made a motion to close the public hearing. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Morrow makes the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. One final comment for everyone. In our discussions with the grant agency in Albany, we have become aware of a financial assistance program for those who are unable to afford the connections. We will be discussing with RUPCO a town-sponsored application for another grant to provide assistance to individuals who are financially unable to make the connection. This is going to be an income standard evaluation, and RUPCO will be the agency hopefully coordinating the program on behalf of the town. The town in 2001, I believe it was, or it was 2005, 6, as we were completing the East Kingston water project, we had excess funds, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture authorized the town to run a program where the town provided grants to the residents of East Kingston to fix up their houses, and several low-income residents in our community took advantage of that program. So hopefully we will be able to be successful in putting this program together for the residents in Spring Lake and on Katrine Lane, because we have a number of residents on Katrine Lane who are also financially challenged and unable to connect at this time. So hopefully that will address their problems. That concludes our public hearing and comments. Mr. Van Cleek?
When we find out on Monday, hopefully the answer from Albany, can we just make sure that a mailer or direct communication goes out to all those people? So they don't have to be calling us, but we can be proactive in telling them.
Yeah, I will draft a letter and mail that out as soon as we get confirmation.
Perfect. Thank you.
Maybe we could also post that on our
Mr.
town's
Morrow or
website.
Mr. Kitchen?
Maybe we could also post that on our town's website.
Yes, it will be posted on the town's website.
Make a motion, we adjourn?
No, we have one last resolution,
Oh, that's right.
the most important resolution of the meeting.
To do.
Gentlemen, for the last 4 months, we've had a difficult time preparing a budget for 2021. We have presented the preliminary budget to a public hearing on November 5th. We've received public comment. And at this point in time, I would like to present the preliminary budget as it was presented to the Town of Ulster Town Board at the workshop on November 5th for adoption as the town budget for 2021.
I would like to make a motion that we accept the budget as presented.
Do I have a second?
I would second that motion.
Okay, Mr. Morrow has seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Roll call
Discussion.
for the budget. Councilman Kitchen,
I'd like to discuss first. Discussion.
Discussion? Go ahead.
Supervisor Quigley, could you please tell the public this equates to like a less than 1% increase?
The net
during
effect
this hard
of our
COVID
process
times?
has resulted in a general fund tax increase of less than 1%. There is a decrease in the highway tax levy, and there is a decrease for the most part in most of the water and sewer districts, with the exception of East Kingston. In East Kingston, a large portion of the district was purchased by Scenic Hudson and taken off the tax roll, which resulted in a 7% reduction in the assessment base out there. Nonetheless, we were able to keep the tax increase to approximately 1% in East Kingston. So townwide, between the town general fund and the town highway fund, the net effect is 0.6% tax increase for the two townwide funds in 2021. It's approximately $58,000. My memory serves me right, as an increase on a $12 million budget. So that is an extraordinary achievement in the fact that pension contributions for next year went up, health insurance went up, salaries went up. Basically, nothing went down, so we had to cut. So,
I have one comment.
Mr. Van Cleek?
I appreciate all the work that went into this. I do appreciate that our last meeting that Mr. Wojcicki did some extensive research and made some good comments. But I have to say that after considering those, I will be supporting this as is. Your comments are right on, but I think the situation is the extenuating circumstances make it so that this budget has been trimmed and brought to as best we can. So I thank you, Supervisor, for the hard work on this.
Thank you. That concludes our
Other comment?
comments. Mr. Morrow, do you have anything to say?
Yes. If I'm doing my math right, and I think I speak for Councilman Kitchen and myself, Eric and I have sat through, I think this is our 11th budget with the supervisor. And
Correct.
once again, for the 11th time in a row, I would give the supervisor an A+ on his work on the budget and thank him for it.
I agree. I concur with Councilman John Morrow.
Any additional comment? Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Kitchen,
Yes.
Councilman Morrow.
Yes.
Again, Councilman Secreto is excused. Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. One housekeeping. For the public hearing, we're going to need, for the record, names and addresses of those that attended so that we can put them in our report to Albany to demonstrate public participation.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our agenda for tonight. I'm pleased to open the floor to the podium to any citizen or any individual here tonight that has any comments that they wish to make to the Town of Ulster Town Board. We're ready to hear anything you have to say.
I'd like to say something.
Please.
My name's Vince Carpino, and I live on 420 Lucas Avenue.
Okay.
And I'd like to know the time frame of extending down past Spring Lake Trailer Park, because I live right across the street from Spring Lake Trailer Park. And how long is that going to take to get there? And
That's an excellent question, Mr. Carpino. In 2018, the Town of Ulster made an application for a grant for Phase 2 of the sewer district. We were unsuccessful at that time in making, in achieving that grant because we had the Katrine Lane project still under construction and we had Phase 1. The program under which we made the grant application was shut down for 2020 due to COVID. We intend on putting the grant application in for Phase 2 at the earliest opportunity when New York State reopens the financing programs that we utilized to achieve this outcome.
okay,
So,
no time schedule yet.
well, I'm hoping that in the spring of 2021, that the state of New York reopens the window for applications.
All right, and you guys were talking about supplying pumps, your grant.
The Phase 2 process would be a similar process.
Okay,
We would install using the highway department and the sewer department, the mains, and we would provide a town-owned pump to those participating in the project.
All right.
And
so-
each homeowner would then be responsible for the connection of the pump and their house to the valve at the curb.
Do you have a list of contractors that would be involved?
I would ask you to speak to Mr. Majori,
All right.
and he can direct you from there.
All right. I need to know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional individuals here tonight?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in December.